or is the, our version now of consciousness raising. It is happening. If you think it's not happening, I mean, you really have to start looking online for what girls are doing. It is happening everywhere, and they're connecting in really creative ways. We have about 20 Spark bloggers. Half of the girls are white, half of the girls are of color. They meet every other week online to talk about blogs and respond to one another. And just last week they were in New York together for a 3-day retreat, talking about how to continue this work. So it's a fabulous place. If you want to know what young women are thinking about, go to sparkmovement.org or sparksummit.com and check out their voices. And I did an analysis of over 80 of their blogs, and one of the 3 things that I feel like they're really doing in terms of enabling conditions for healthy sexuality is they are creating more space for diversity of girls and opinions, and they're interrupting and disrupting the kind of surface of things with their really incredible observations and questions, and they're advocating for social action all of the time. One of the other things that you should know about is on the Spark site there are a series of free downloadable Spark kits, so you can spark it in your community. At the Spark Summit we had action spots. We're translating those now into kits for communities to do this work with girls. So just go on, check out the Spark kit, and you can learn how you saw the t-shirts with the images projected. Go to PBG and learn how to do that and do it with a group of girls. It's really powerful. You can do every one of those. These are examples of some of the Spark kits up there, where girls can make their collages. They can do an art talk and upload it onto the Project Girl site and see themselves as all the other girls doing this work. Again, they can learn how to do projection. Projection was actually developed by a Colby student, young woman named Aaliyah Starr, who was actually developing a really interesting way for people to talk back when they have, in anonymous ways, about their experience of eating disorders. And she was really generous to give us, allow us to adapt this for Spark. And young girls are really picking up the voice here. This is Izzy, who is a Spark Team blogger at 13. Before I realized I was a feminist, I just thought I was a narcissist because I really liked myself. I just love her. But this idea that girls are developing a language and they're learning this language, this is not a post-feminist moment. We're very much within feminism here. And it's a girls' feminism, and they're creating it in their own ways. And so I just want to end with the importance, again, of working with youth. It's so important to support their work. In particular, being in a sort of shared and egalitarian relationships, giving them an education about their history of activism as girls, and sharing knowledge about the culture of power, because the return is incredible. The return is what we saw at the Spark Summit, which is this incredible passion, fresh, creative ideas, a kind of politics of hope. And learning and education. It's just incredible. So I just want to close by saying a few things, and I'm going to put this up for those of you who, because I've mentioned a lot of these organizations. It's very curious to me that just as young women are feeling more powerful than ever, as their voices, their talents, knowledge, and capabilities are entering the public world like never before, that girly culture has arisen, and we've become consumed with girls' meanness and eroticized their anger and aggression. Their power makes us nervous. They could organize and things could change. Indeed, as Adrienne Rich once professed, connections between and among women are the most feared, the most problematic, and the most potentially transformative force on the planet. If girls and women gain entry and power, if they speak their wide range of truths publicly and clearly, things, of course, will change. We should recognize efforts to quiet them, tame them, or label them bad as the reassertion of the status quo and an attempt to manage and control them. In his book, Change the World Without Taking Power, John Holloway describes the multiple dimensions of a scream. He explains that when we cry out against oppression, we express not only our pain, but our vision for the possibilities of the future. He writes, our scream is two-dimensional. The scream of rage that arises from present experience carries within itself a hope and a projection of possible otherness. To the girls and young women here, I would say this really is your time to scream, and you should be involved in this and screaming about this, the ways in which you're being represented in the media. So fighting like a girl means doing something to make the world better. It means being visible and vocally brave. To the adults in the audience, I say do what you can to support girls in their activism. Let go of judgment. Offer support both emotionally and financially. Give your resources to this movement and to these movements and to girls trying to do creative work. In Carol Gilligan's words, be a safe house for the resistance. Our role is to act as muses, that is to inspire girls' brilliance and their best work and to scaffold their fight. If we fail beautifully and spectacularly together. If we succeed, the possibilities are endless. Thank you. Thank you. Means a lot. Oh, absolutely. People have comments or questions.
We saw something on the screen seconds ago, muse versus mentor.
Yeah.
Could you elaborate on that?
Absolutely. That's from Amy Sullivan's work, From Mentor to Muse. And you can find it in the first version of a book called Urban Girls. And she really distinguishes those two, a mentor as being much more kind of top-down, where you have information you're imparting and you're a role model, and muse being in the old sense of the word of being inspiring someone to come to their own knowledge and their own creativity and their own brilliance. And she really makes a strong case for being muses to girls rather than mentors to them. And in our work at Hardy Girls, we don't talk about mentoring. All of the people who run our Girls Coalition groups or who work with their Adventure Girls programs are muses to girls. And we use that language actively and purposefully. And I would really invite you to read that article. It's wonderful. Yeah. Right. Right. Yeah, I mean, the APA report talks about that too, those two patterns. And I think again, it's both to sort of, it's about sort of the male gaze, right, in both cases, but it's about, sort of controlling and infantilizing women, I think, in certain ways, or to make them appealing. I mean, I think in both cases it's pretty dangerous for little girls, either way. But I see that. I mean, in the research they talk about age compression, and they talk about this kind of, that there's really, it all becomes sort of the same thing in that way, the same construction, but I don't know that I can, other than that, it's a way to eroticize, and control in a certain way. I don't know, maybe you're a room full of clinicians.
But now, not only do you have to be young boy, thinking of talking about it,
Yeah.
but the breast implants, if that's being done, the breast implants.
Yeah. Yeah, and that is, right, that's true. But does anybody have a response to that particular issue? Because I think that's a really good observation, and I think that's absolutely the themes out there,
What I had was this sort of like womanly girls and girlish women, and that it has a lot to do with power over control. That's on both sides.
Right, right.
Power.
And I think the little girls becoming looking like women is again also the messages they're getting about what it means to grow up and how to be, visible and taken seriously. But in fact, of course, it's a very narrow construction. But So it may be market driven in certain ways too, in different ways.